Okay, with Kaitlyn Leach, Conserving Mountains is a short film played at the Environmental Film Festival. Well, the name's in the title. You're conserving mountains in West Virginia, but I'm watching your film, and this is a love story to West Virginia. That was my interpretation of your film.
It definitely is. I from there, grew up there, absolutely in love with everything, and I just wanted to share my love of West Virginia with others, letting people know that we're more than just coal country.
Well, you're a lot more than coal country, and I'm traveling I'm from the Niagara region, and we used to drive to Florida more than a few times, and we used to go through West Virginia mountains. And I remember like driving through there and I'm like, this is like the most amazing place in the world. How come nobody talks about this? And why aren't we stopping here? Why are we stopping in Florida? This seems like so cool to go to. And it's like that's what West Virginia is to me. Is like is this kind of cool place that nobody seems to talk about.
Yeah, sadly, we're not well known as we probably used to be. We used to really be known for skiing, but given how snow has been these past few years, skiing was one of the only reasons people came for the environment. And sadly, without the snow, no skiers really came. So now they're trying to get mountain bikers, kayakers, everything, any and all outdoorsy people to come to West Virginia.
And this film was about conserving the mountains of West Virginia with the animals and making sure that from an environmental standpoint things don't get like go on the wayside and these animals stay where they are and this gets conserved, I guess. Like, is that even a word, conserved? But yeah, it gets taken care of. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Yes, there are a lot of people currently working on making sure that West Virginia stays the way that it is and that it was, and just trying to keep the animals keep coming back. Like we're losing the monarch butterfly, sadly, which is really weird to say because growing up, the monarch butterfly was everywhere. And now I'm lucky if I even see one every year.
So how did you, speaking of the animals in this film, like how are you able to, I'm assuming there's a lot of filming taken that you did to grab the footage that you got with the animals.
Yes, it was really hard to grab as much film as possible within 3 weeks because that's all we were allowed to film for the duration. And it was a lot of me just camping in my car and just traveling all over, waking up before the sun even came up and just going out and setting up to film.
So why were you only giving, is this like this was a school project?
Yes, this was my master's thesis project.
At what school?
University of Salford,
And where's Salford?
England.
In the like in the United Kingdom, England?
Yes.
So so you flew to West Virginia to make the film and you're in England? You're doing school in England?
Yeah, I flew back home. I was flying back home anyway, and I'm like, I may as well just stay longer and do this as a film. Quite a few of my classmates actually flew out of the country to go film.
So what brought you to this school in the UK? Why didn't you go to school in the States? That's the key question I'm asking.
Yeah, so there are really only three master's programs about wildlife documentary.
Okay.
Two of them are in England,
Oh wow.
and the one here in the US wasn't quite the direction I wanted to go particularly. So I ended up going to the University of Salford to have my master's.
So this is a specific program for just for wildlife filmmaking.
Yes.
And what's the core thing that they taught you at that school?
Oh goodness. To respect any and all life. Ethics was very much put into us. Had to do ethical filmmaking and make sure that we're not harming or disturbing the wildlife that we're trying to film and show people to appreciate.
So are you were you a fan or you still, I'm assuming you're still a fan of wildlife movies?
I am. Yes, very much so. I do look at them with a more critical eye now, definitely.
In what like kind of do you remember the movie that the wildlife movie that kind of like took you by storm and basically wanted you to make wildlife movies yourself?
I don't know if there was one particular. Growing up, I was the kid that was always watching Animal Planet.
Okay,
And so there were a lot of TV shows, Crikey, um, any of Steve Irwin's movies or shows, Jack Hanna from the Columbus Zoo.
gotcha. So like more like TV shows then.
Yeah.
Do you like because they have those those movies that they were coming out every year during the environmental week and they were kind of amazing like wildcats or like they would do the polar bears and they would like the filmmaking crew would spend like a year with this certain I guess species for a bit and those were kind of cool movies.
Yeah. Definitely grew up watching them in the classroom, and I just absolutely loved them. And it was awesome to combine my love for nature and my love for photography and filmmaking.
So let's talk about the structure of this film. Was it always going to be 10 minutes long?
Yes, you were only allowed to make a film between 10 and 12 minutes long.
Okay. And then so did you like set out like did you have like a script ready before you started filming? Like you because you talk about the animals and the voiceover. Did you kind of know what you wanted to film, what story you wanted to tell before you started filming?
Yeah, so there was a lot of structure. Definitely, I just wanted to show a lot of the local conservation efforts being made by people who were living in West Virginia and working in West Virginia. So I reached out and tried to get a pretty wide variety of places, like with the elk, the butterfly, and then a few other, the peregrine falcons. Try to get a variety of species that we're trying to protect.
And what about the people you interviewed in the film?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
So what about the people you interviewed in the film?
Yes, the people I interviewed, a lot of them were either national park workers, state park workers, and then there was one citizen scientist.
And then you did you like were you always like imagining that you're gonna like interview them? Like how did you reach out to them and what was the process of getting those interviews?
So before I started the film, it was 2 months of just research and reaching out to people and seeing if they would be willing to participate. And I did get rejected quite a few by quite a few people, but a lot of people were also really excited to do it.
So why would people reject you? That's so it's so interesting.
Um, Most of the time it's just they don't have time. Scheduling out an interview in like a very busy season, because this was in the middle of summer.
Gotcha. And then so then you just kind of did a lot of B-roll and you kind of found the animals. And what about the voiceover? Did you like did you start working on that script like afterwards, like when you were in editing?
Yes, the script was made after editing, after I had put all the interviews in there, so that way I knew what their voices were saying, and the narrator was just a connection between those voices to create a good flow.
Yeah. So what then you got the plants that you found and it seems like it's like you really love that butterfly though, eh? You got some nice shots of the butterfly.
Yes, very passionate about the butterfly. I'm actually trying to see if I can't make a film about the butterfly this summer, specifically the monarch.
So where you so you graduated now you're so what did now you're back in West Virginia?
I'm back in the States. Yes, I'm not currently in West Virginia, but I am back in the States right now.
So what's going so what are you planning on now? What's your next step?
Mostly just getting my own filmmaking business off the ground and just trying to make as many films about more smaller conservation what's happening within the conservation community, because the big film companies, they're always telling these really big international stories, and more often I'm seeing that it's sometimes the same story over and over and over, And I'm like, what about the little animals? What about the little things that are happening in communities within certain countries and states, and what's their voice?
Gotcha. So yeah, so I guess that basically you're on your way as to be an environmental filmmaker, I guess.
I'm trying.
What did you think about the audience? We sent the audience to you. What did you think what their responses were?
I was definitely really happy that what I was trying to do was getting across to them. Like you said, it was felt like a love letter to West Virginia, and it very much was that for me.
So yeah, so they seem to be like it's because they understand there's like it's a love story to what you love, and people seem to have there's a universal appeal to what you just said. So basically, that makes sense. And then you basically, but then you also throw the nature to it, and yeah, you basically have a kind of you told like a universal story, but it's also a very personal story for you at the same time.
Yes, definitely. And it was also a personal story for all the people I interviewed because they're from that area. They love that area and they just want to protect it.
Yeah. Well, so basically, what are you gonna make another short film? You think, or what do you think you're gonna like, or do you like what do you think you're gonna go to next?
I'll probably make another short film, and then eventually I would like to make a full-length documentary, like hour-long documentary.
Yeah. And do you know what that would be about?
I'm really interested in making one about our nocturnal pollinators and what's happening with them. A lot of people don't realize that we have nocturnal pollinators like moths and bats, which they're severely declining right now, especially with bats because of white nose syndrome.
Hmm. Gotcha. Well, I think that you're on like yeah, like I said, it seems like an interesting thing. It seems like you're kind of in the right wheelhouse. This film's doing well. It's played at a multiple festivals. Are you surprised by the success of this film?
A bit. I was a little like, I don't know if some of these international um film festivals are going to be interested in a little film about West Virginia.
No, but I like I said to you, there's a universal like yeah, there I think that they would be. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It kind of just surprised me. I'm like, oh, people actually really like this.
Yeah. Well, I wish you the ultimate best of success. Why don't we talk when you make your next film?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I said I wish you the best of success. Why don't we talk when you make your next film?
Definitely.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time and yeah, great film, and we're very proud to show it at our festival.
All right. Thank you so much.